In this video, we're going to talk about adding resources to your project, defining those resources, and then assigning those resources to tasks. Resources can include anything from people to supplies to facilities to machines, anything you need to complete your project tasks. But for resources to be available here in Project, first you have to describe them in the database. To see what's in the database, go to the View tab, and then in the Resources View group, click on Resource Sheet. And you'll see in here there's nothing here, it's a blank sheet. So go down to the resource name area and click in a blank row. And I'm going to type in a resource name. Let's type in Bruce. And then update these initials. They auto-populate, but I'll update them to something a little more than what's there. The other item you want to address here is this max units available. The max units is the availability of the resource for project work. So if it's at 100% availability, that means Bruce is available for 8 hours a day to work on a project. Now, often your resources aren't available 100% of the time, especially people resources for projects. So this can be adjusted up and down, and we'll just make Bruce available for 75% for example purposes. Now let's put in another resource. Put in Jack. We'll make him available for 25% of the time. And one thing to keep in mind here, whatever you name your resources, you want it to be very descriptive because that's going to flow through the project. So you want it to be something that your project team and any stakeholders would recognize or know what the resource is if they see it. Okay, I'm just going to fill the rest of these resources in, and I'm going to speed this up a little bit while I fill in the sheet. Okay, now we've got all of our resources defined. The next thing we want to do is look at the resource calendar. Resource calendars are used to block the non-working days at a resource-specific level. So you might want to assign a resource a vacation day or some time they won't be available for project work. And the resource calendar also inherits all the non-working times that you've already set up in your project calendar when you were setting up the project schedule. So let's look at a resource calendar. And to do that, you have to go up to the View tab and click the resource sheet if you're not there already. And then whichever resource you want to work on the calendar for, just go and double click the name of that resource. And that brings up this information dialog box. And then you want to check right here and make sure that you're on the right resource name. And then come right down here to change working time. Now here's the calendar, and we're starting our project in December. So let's scroll on over to March, and let's say Bruce is going to take a vacation starting on the 12th of March. So we can go down here and name and just type in vacation. And let's say he's going to finish up on the 16th. Okay. And you'll notice when we click off of this, now the calendar has updated. It's gone dark for all those non-working times for Bruce, for the resource Bruce. Okay. So just go down here and click OK, and then OK again. And now you can't see anything that's changed out here on the resource sheet, but we can double click on Bruce again and confirm that those times took. So we can just scroll back down to March. And you can see that the times are here. Okay, so now after you've assigned non-working times to all your resources, you want to actually assign those resources to tasks on the project. And you can allocate any number of these resources to a task you want, and Project will automatically assign activity and resource information in the background to the project as you do that. So let's assign a resource. First thing is to come up to the Task tab And then look in the view group, make sure you're in Gantt chart. Now go down to the start column here, and let's right click and insert a column. You can scroll down through this list and choose, or you can just type work and hit enter. And now you'll see we've got a column that's been inserted with work hours. But of course they're all zeros because we haven't assigned any resources yet to the project. So let's go up to the View tab and then click the Details checkbox over here in Split View. And then set it to Task Form if it doesn't default there. And down here, right click in the task form and make sure Resources and Predecessors is chosen. And that's going to show you the resource assignment over here in the left-hand side. And then over here in the right-hand side, it will show you the predecessor task. So let's assign a resource. Let's say we want to assign it down here to the electrical task. So click on electrical task and highlight it. And then come down under resource name and click. And you'll see a drop down with all the resources that you added to the database. Let's choose Bruce and then click over here in the units. And you can change this to specify the units for this task specifically, or leave it blank and it defaults to whatever you assign the resource in the resource sheet. Nothing's going to happen here though until you go up here and click on the OK button. And once you do, you see that the units have updated according to the resource sheet that you already set up. And then a work amount has been calculated of 48 hours. And it also filled in up here in the Gantt chart. Now, how this calculation works is Bruce is assigned 75% of an 8-hour day. So 75% of 8 hours is 6 hours. And the duration, that was already determined when we set the durations for all the tasks up. Okay, and you assigned it at 8 days. So 6 hours of work per day for 8 days is 48 hours of work. So the resource Bruce has been assigned 48 hours of work on the electrical task. Now I can come in here and add another resource. Let's add Jack and then click OK. And now you see the same calculation has happened. Jack is working 25% of an 8-hour day. So that's 2 hours a day for 8 days. 2 hours times 8 days is 16 hours. Now, if you combine these two, 48 and 16, that's going to give you a total of 64 hours being worked on the electrical task. All right, so you're now ready to go in and assign resources to all your tasks in the project, and the work will start to calculate. You'll notice on this summary task here, since electrical is part of this summary task, that the summary task hours have increased. You'll also notice out here on the Gantt chart graph that Bruce and Jack have been added as resources to this task. And that's how you assign resources to your tasks in your project.